And then afterwards, Andy Stanley came out with a quote.
Yeah.
A post on Facebook. And I shared it because somebody sent it to me, and I shared it because I thought it was a really good post. And then I looked at the top of it, and it said Andy Stanley, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Andy Stanley sent this?
Well, that's so. After you mentioned this today, and I went and looked it up, I'd actually read his words and didn't know he had posted it, and it's because he has unposted it.
Right.
Oh, what'd he say? Good or bad?
It was good. It was actually a coherent, intelligent thing to say.
And he took it down?
Yeah.
And that's why when I saw it, it was Andy Stanley, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because I disagree with almost everything he says.
Well, because the way he's been the last year, he would probably be in support of what happened at the Olympics, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised Andy Stanley wasn't laying on the table with like an apple in his mouth. I really, he is such a gay lover that I could not believe that he posted it.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing some stuff about him earlier.
And I thought, okay, this is the Babylon. It must be the Babylon Bee, posted this.
Yeah, because this is what he's got going on right now, called the Unconditional Conference, where him and other church leaders are putting on a weekend conference for parents of alphabet children, for ministry leaders looking to discover ways to support these parents.
Yeah, basically an affirming conference.
Yep, absolutely.
And by the way, who designates themselves as church leaders? Who does that? Do they go like to the Queen and she's like, I anoint you church leader? I don't know. I'm a church leader. From now on, change my name. It's not Pastor Lee anymore. It's Church Leader Lee. That's who I am.
Church leader, or you're elderly?
I'm a church leader. I am a church leader.
You're elderly.
That's who I am. I'm elderly. I identify as a church leader, and you can't say anything about it. Yep.
Done.
So if people don't know the issues with Stanley here, is he'd be a really great teacher. To be honest, his father was better.
I read a lot of his books a long time ago.
Yeah, and he's got a really unique way of teaching. He always has a TV behind him. It's a really cool thing with topics and stuff. I used to like that. But he started this affirming attitude 12 months ago, 18 months ago. And he would say stuff like this, that a gay person who still wants to attend church after the way they've been treated, I'm telling you, they have more faith than I do. They have more faith than a lot of you. And I believe...
What a dumbass thing to say.
And I believe that he has alphabet people leading in his churches.
Well, after that statement,
I wouldn't doubt that. He would have to do that.
I believe that was true.
Yeah. He would have to, because they would come to him and say, we want to be a servant in the church, and he'd have to let them. He could not say no.
This is a whole other topic that maybe we can talk about one day, but the idea of people separate these things so weird now. Like a gay person, does that mean they're practicing sexual sin? Not always, right? It could be somebody that has same-sex attraction. Like, people have all sorts of weird temptations. Right. Just because we have them doesn't mean we're to act on them and live in them, right? There's a difference between somebody with same-sex attraction and somebody living in a homosexual relationship, right? But...
Okay, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
If you had a guy who was a pedophile, but he was a non-practicing pedophile.
Exactly.
Would you let him work in your church? Just answer my own question. Would you?
No.
Well, what makes him a pedophile?
Or if you had a guy who was addicted to sex, he was addicted to porn.
Yeah.
But he was fighting it and not giving into it. Okay, that's great. That's admirable. But you don't let them serve in the church until they get it under control.
Right.
That's what you do. You don't. You don't take somebody who's
an addict, though, right? Like they're still addicted.
Well, but they still have this attraction. They still have this thing that's not biblical, and so you give them time and you give them love and you give them compassion to work out the issue, but you don't say, because of your attraction, I'm going to put you in charge of ministries here at the church because I'm an accepting person. You don't do that stuff.
Yeah, because
Right.
you're attracted to minors, I'm going to bring you into the children's ministry.
Yeah.
That's why we do
We'll let you
background
work through
checks.
it there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Lee, are you equating homosexuality with pedophilia? Yeah.
Sexual sin is sexual sin.
Still sexual sin.
That's right.
That's what it is.
And that's the,
just as I would not let I would not let a couple who was living together, who was having extramarital sex, and they would tell you, and they're not ashamed. I would not let them serve within the church.
Absolutely.
It's still a sexual sin.
And here's the thing, though. That's the portion of this statement that I have the most issue with, and it's probably not what other people have issue with. A gay person who is living a gay lifestyle shouldn't want to attend. They should be getting convicted every time they're there instead of being affirmed every time they're there.
But the statement, this is one of these statements that sounds really good but makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
That if they've been vilified by the church and then they decide to go back to church, they're exhibiting faith. No, they're not. That's not faith. Maybe they're overcoming obstacles, maybe they're resilient, maybe something along those lines, but that's not faith. They're not exercising faith when they do that.
How about this one right here, Lee? Can you see it?
The gay men and women who worship their Heavenly Father, who did not answer the cry of their heart when they were 12, 13, 14, 15.
What is
still
that
love God.
cry of their heart when they were 12 to 15? Was that a cry to make me
we have
not
some things
gay?
to learn from that group of men and women who love Jesus that much and want to worship with us.
What is the cry of their heart? Was it the cry to make me not gay?
Yeah, I don't know what they're.
But I
unless he's
don't.
talking
But see that.
about salvation.
But see, okay. So what he's saying, what he's implying here, is that homosexuality is that people are born gay. That's what he's saying.
Yes, absolutely. That's what he says.
Yeah, people are born gay, and they can either choose to act on it or not act on it.
Yep.
Whereas, like an adulterer or somebody who's doing extramarital sex, they're not born that way. But gay people are born that way. That has to be the whole premise behind the argument. Because if you say, well, they're not born that way, then his argument doesn't make any sense, because you could apply the same criteria to people who are in an adulterous relationship or people who are having extramarital sex or premarital sex. But
Yeah.
so it's he thinks they're born that way.
So what did he say about this whole drag scenario?
He came out. He talked about that there were troops. There were troops that stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, on D-Day, who prayed to God, and who laid down their lives, who modeled the words of Jesus Christ. No greater love hath the man than this, that laid down his life for his friends. And the cemetery is filled with men who are underneath crosses because they believed in something worth dying for. Right there.
Yeah.
And he said that France owes not only Christians an apology, but the West an apology, because it was Americans, it was Canadians.
Yeah, we saved their butt.
Exactly. Twice. And so there is.
It makes you
And
wonder.
it was a great point. That's why when I looked at the top of it, I was like, no way. Andy Stanley said this must be his press person.
That's what I was saying. Was it somebody else that wrote this, and then
It must have been somebody else who
no,
wrote
we
it.
got to delete that.
And then, but I think what he found out was that he didn't want to look stupid. He thought when they said it's related to Greek mythology, he was like, oh, I look stupid now. I got to take it down. I think that's why he took it down. I don't think he's ashamed of it. I think he just took it down.
He's probably getting a lot of hate from it.
I'm sure he is, because now they're just like, oh, okay, yeah, you said you were for us, and now you're against us.
Yep, exactly.
And that's why he took it down, which would go along with his spineless and gutless behavior. I mean, seriously.
See, there you go.
So,
No, I never even thought about it that way.
yeah. I mean, I think I talked about that I think I posted something about that. I post stuff and then I take it down. But it's
I know. I got to get there quick because
you
if I
gotta
get there, if I get there
you wanna
too
use it
late,
against me in court one
if
day
I-
when the FBI.
if I get
calls
there
me
too
in
late, it
finally.
says this post can't be found. Yeah.
I know. But there were a lot of godly men who died on that beach,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and a lot of them weren't. But just to make fun of it, France owes us a debt because they would be speaking German now if it wasn't for us.